afternoon, everybody, and thank you all for waiting. As you know, there's a high level of knowledge of Leader within the area. I see that there's many people who have been discussing projects with Sheila and I that have been actually funded by ourselves. So I don't intend to go into a great deal about the Leader programme, but I thought it might be quite useful to begin with just to remind everybody of the area that we actually cover. As you see, it's the Argyll and Islands Leader area, and we cover the whole of Argyll and Bute and Arran and the Cumbraes. The only exception is the town of Helensburgh, and that's because there's a population threshold that we work in communities of under 10,000. Okay. The overall objective of the Leader programme is to support the sustainable community-based development of Argyll and the Islands Leader area, and this is done by the local action group members actually having a local development strategy for the area, which we facilitate by funding projects that actually help us with the strategy. We're coming to the end of our programming period. As you can see that we're going to be closing in 2013, so we're actually not accepting any applications at the moment, which may be a disappointment for some of you, but we have actually funded 263 projects over the last 5 years to the tune of around about £8 million in total, which is quite a significant funding injection into the area, particularly when you think that we only fund up to 50% of a project and all the applicants have actually levered in additional funding. So in the local context, we are quite a big player. Now, we were asked to give the 5 key points, because obviously we've worked with a lot of communities, many of whom have been developing projects related to either asset transfer or developing community projects. And this is our combined wisdom, well, Sheila and I's combined wisdom at the moment. The first thing is to have a clear understanding of why you want to take over the asset. Just wanting to see it for the community because it's a good thing isn't enough. You've got to have a clear idea. That can be the starting point, but you really need to know why you want to do it and have a good reason for what is going to happen next. You also have to have a realistic, fully costed business case in place before you proceed. I know it takes ages, everybody gets together and you're really excited and you just want to do it, but time spent actually planning at the beginning, talking things through, not just ignoring the inconvenient things that you'll think about later on. Doing that at the beginning and being realistic how much it's going to cost, where the money is going to come from, how much money you can generate to keep it going, is time really well spent, although it doesn't seem like it when you're sitting at 11:30 at night and everybody's falling out because you don't quite agree. The next really important point, because again we work with lots of different types of projects over a wide range of activity, and quite often groups will come together and you'll have the founding members, and then they grow and they develop, and time passes and you've still got the founding members. And the founding members might quite like to stop, because what was great when you were in your 50s and full of energy, by the time you're knocking 80, you might want somebody else to help. So succession planning, who is going to be running the asset in 10, 20, 30 years' time. You don't need to know the individuals, but you do need to think about having a plan in place at the beginning, and maybe having a rolling programme of how do you recruit new people coming in, I know everybody knows it, but sometimes for somebody that's been there forever, that some people would think that perhaps it's time to set aside and have new ideas coming in. How are you actually going to manage that type of process? Another important thing to remember is that not everybody will share your vision, and naysayers may actually have a reasonable point of view, and there's quite a lot to be gained by having discussions with people who don't automatically get it and think it's a wonderful idea, but through discussion they may come up with ideas that you think, oh, I understand that, or when you're having the discussion they come round to your way of thinking, so that's really quite important as well. And I think the final point is it'll take up all your time and energy for years rather than months. It is a long time process, so it's not something that's going to happen quickly, and your involvement will be for a very long time. Now, the stage that we're at, as I said, that we're closing down the current Leader programme, but the good news is that there's going to be a new Leader programme which is scheduled to run from 2014 to 2020. At the moment that we're actually starting the consultation process, when we're actually going out to various organisations and stakeholder groups and communities to find out what people on the ground who are actually implementing projects, what they actually need. We've had an initial survey which we had 285 responses to, which has given us some idea of what people are actually doing. And so the potential role for Leader when we're looking at asset transfer is the initial development of the overall idea, so right in at the very beginning with the feasibility studies, the options appraisal, the community consultation work at that stage. Now, in the current programme that we were able to fund big projects like the Aracher Hall that we had a presentation from, whether we'll actually be able to do large infrastructure projects next time round, we don't know, but there's probably the potential for small-scale infrastructure. So if you're looking at an asset and you think maybe we want to change it or to improve it in some way, there may be, again, this is just perhaps, and also there will be the scope probably for developing activities that will take place after the asset. So I think really what I'm saying is the potential for Leader is before and after, not during. We won't contribute to the purchase of an asset. We haven't been able to in this programme, and we wouldn't expect to do that in the next programme. We also won't contribute to the legal fees and the associated fees involved in the process of actually purchasing it. We won't contribute to the repair and maintenance costs or to the general running costs. Again, that's in the current programme, and it's very unlikely to be eligible for the next programme, bearing in mind we've not had the full rules yet, but this is what we're actually expecting. And then just finally, as I touched on, that we've started the consultation process, and what's starting to come out are these priorities, again, that will relate directly to potential asset transfers. Leader is a very wide, diverse fund, and there could be other priorities we have that will relate to particular assets, but this is in general. And basically, we're looking at supporting organisations that are going to be moving towards generating their income streams. So again, we don't actually, if you've got the good idea and you're wanting to move towards it, then that's something that we can help, again, with the feasibility studies, the option appraisals, possibly business cases. Also, the capacity building and development of skills relating to the implementation of community action plans that's been touched upon by other speakers, seeing the real value of community action plans to the community, and it's something that we've supported a lot, getting the community action plans pulled together in the current programme. But again, there will always be skills gaps and assistance in actually implementing, because I mean, as we all agree, there's no point just having a plan, you've got to implement the plan, so we could help with that. Also, another emerging priority is encouraging the development of community-owned attractions in the less well-developed tourism areas. Again, tourism will be one of the potential themes that are coming through. And there are some areas of Argyll that have got excellent community-owned community facilities and attractions, but there are other areas where the ambition is there, but they may want the help to go along with it. And again, we've done a lot of work with community facilities and supporting activities that will help the sustainable use of community facilities, and also becoming more energy efficient, because again, that's something that is key. If there's any questions that you would like, or if there's any thoughts you've had about the future Leader programme, or anything that you would like to discuss, I've put our contact details, so just call Sheila and myself. You mentioned before it's unusual having people say just phone us, but just phone us. But also don't forget there's the local action group members themselves that we're always happy to discuss with them. And that's it.
Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.